obviously we don't have a quorum here, but we'll just go ahead and talk about, some of the updates and things that we've got going on. And then April has some ideas and some things that she's come across, I think, that she'd like to talk with us about, and we'll just get input and opinions. So, under old business, we've got the 39 Main Street update. Really no new news on that. What, we're planning on doing is taking the document that Tom prepared, and then marrying it up with whatever forms we need to make the contractor, the bid, legal, and then we'll put it back out there for folks to bid on. And proceed with it and just get it down to a grassy seeded lot. Once that happens, of course, then we'll really start needing input and ideas and feedback as to what do we want to go there. That process will take, however long it takes. I just wanna get it to a blank canvas so that we can pick up from there.
Both the pest control companies we talked to suggested that we clear that lot off, all the stuff that's sitting around.
Yep.
And they said there was some, burrows underneath a couple of the pieces, I cannot confirm that there are.
Yeah.
So we need to think about, we gotta figure out how we're gonna schedule that, get that cleared up.
So,
We can move.
I'm gonna circle almost back around to that. That would be one of the items that I send over to the county and ask them to help us with. Had a conversation with Mr. Fouts today, and one of those things that I touched on was, I wanted to give an updated request to the county saying, hey, can you help us with this list of things? They've been doing a lot with the back parking lot, and everything has done so far has been up underneath that. I just feel better to go ahead and give them a list of 3 or 4 things, and I've got a partial list over here, of things to do. So we would get the county to actually move the debris and materials and the stuff that we think that we could use later on. Anything else, we'll leave in a pile of surplus and or recycle and or dispose of ourselves, and then we'll probably bring that to council as a separate discussion item. Because I suspect we're gonna have a pile of trash and stuff.
You're gonna have a dump truck full.
Right.
What's your position? Are you?
I'm the pizza place.
Oh, okay, I didn't
I wanna
realize.
get involved with the business stuff around here.
What blocks we can, what blocks we can.
I may try that again, I hadn't been over that in a year.
Yeah.
I also want to.
And the other part of the list of the request of the county will be the use of a crew for a day to do that, those
What's your
type
last name?
things.
Yarborough.
Yarborough?
And either put it into a hopper to be taken off to the landfill or moved on site and used to fill in.
How do y'all go about putting bids out? So the reason why I ask is because my neighbor is demolishing a house in Jonesboro. That's one of the things that he does. He lives over here off McDonald. And I said, hey, did you know that they were bidding on that? He said, I have no idea. And so I wasn't sure. I know that Team Georgia Marketplace, do y'all utilize that at all?
No, we have not.
So Team Georgia Marketplace is specifically for government entities to get bids on stuff. It doesn't matter
Okay.
what it is. It can be, I'm up to date on the minutes, copiers, fax machines, computers. It can be, it can be demolishing a house. It can be, if there's a class code for like an NAICS class code, then you can get on there and get a bid for it.
So it's called Team Georgia Marketplace?
Yes,
Okay.
so we do a lot of the janitorial for some of the DFAX offices, and I have to go through that. And so I get emails constantly that say, here's an opportunity to bid, and it'll say what it is and what the requirements are. And then that kind of lets me decide, okay, is this something that I want to mess with or not? And I typically
Sure.
can tell from the description if it is something that I want to mess with. And so I'm curious, sometimes you're able to, and everyone that is in this site is a registered person with the state. It'll tell you, you have to upload your insurance, your W-9, you have to upload all of that.
Do they have minimums for the contracts? Because I've heard of it. Okay.
I've seen stuff on there for,
Okay.
I have seen to have like a, like it can be a one-time situation. I have seen them put on there to purchase like one, what are those things called? A pallet of copy paper. You know what I mean? Like it can be
Reams of paper.
anything in the
Just
world.
anything and everything.
It can be anything and everything. And so, I was thinking about that because I wasn't sure, the minutes didn't say what the bids were, so I couldn't really tell a ballpark if it was, I couldn't go, well, hey, how does this sound? Does this sound? So previously, have y'all just been Googling and then just calling folks?
Essentially,
That,
Okay.
or putting it out,
Okay.
or referring people that we know, hey,
Right.
can you give us a bid?
it's not just Google, but yes, it's
Yeah.
sort of, right.
Well, there are, when I say so many folks that do stuff in Sharpsburg, I mean, there is so many people that do things. So most of the time, we also have, now I know that we're not in the city of Sharpsburg, but we still consider ourselves Sharpsburg, but we have a page on Facebook called the, I think 1654 Loop. And so it's basically all around
Yeah.
Clearwater, all through McDonald, Neely Road, a little, not all the way down Tope, it stops a little bit up,
Right.
but it's folks that are within, 1.5 to 3 miles from here. And there are constantly people, we can put on there too, the city is looking for this to happen, does anyone know?
Where's this group?
On Facebook,
Facebook,
Mhm.
okay.
It's called
16.
1654
circle.
circle, okay.
I'm the admin, I'll add you.
Yeah, definitely.
That's convenient.
Yeah, but
That
there,
works.
so that was a couple of things I was curious when I was reading through is I didn't know how y'all went about securing.
And that's one of the
bids.
things that we've been looking at revamping. We've got some additional staff that has some expertise in it, and then of course we've been talking internally about it.
Mhm.
It's really gonna be a combination, I think, of putting it on the website, talking about it in meetings, and then getting people.
Putting it out there.
Putting it out there, yeah.
Well, I mean, people also want to be a part of whatever's gonna happen in
Right.
Sharpsburg and how it's gonna happen, and so most of the time, my husband all the time is going, I'm just gonna show up out there and pressure wash that sign and just I don't, just because he wants it to be done. And so there are a lot of people, and I think I've said this, I'm having deja vu, that would do things, and it's not that y'all are asking for a discount, but they want it to be nice, and so they're willing to do it for less just because it is for our, people are proud of 30277.
Our advice to staff and advice to council usually is we rarely go for the lowest bid.
Mhm.
We rarely go for the cheapest one. We
Middle.
We more than often go to the middle,
Right.
the middle choice, just because we don't wanna lowball it.
Right.
Okay, so circling back to the stuff in the debris and the hauling off, that'll be part of the request of the county, and then that will hopefully get that stuff out, and then we can get the fumigators over here. We have an armadillo downtown as well, so we need to add that.
Armadillo.
An armadillo, yes, yes,
Where'd you see Armadillo?
right over there next to the old fertilizer warehouse, where Tony Brown has his showroom on occasion. Saw it over there, been carrying my 22 ever since, in case I see him again. But at the same time, we'll put out some traps for him as well. Cause I'd rather trap them and relocate them than shoot them in downtown. I mean, I would if I saw one, but I'd rather
They're so
trap 'em.
stupid, you hit them with a baseball bat.
I wouldn't be able
So
to
trade the gun for a baseball
No,
bat. Walk around
no,
town with a baseball
no.
bat.
Now, can you see me chasing an armadillo through downtown with a baseball bat?
It would be great in the.
No, yes, it would certainly be anything.
TV show, Armadillo Hunters, we could do that.
Yes, we could do that.
Getting our local armadillos out.
Go ahead.
I got the name of that guy that can do the, lead and asbestos inspections.
Okay,
And it'll cost you somewhere in the neighborhood of $900.
for the inspection?
What's getting inspected for asbestos?
The house over
House
here,
we're tearing down.
the Beckham house over here.
Okay.
Before we tear it down, we want to go ahead and have the asbestos and lead inspection done. We don't think there's anything in there, but
We wanna find out, not let the
do
contact.
you know a
Hold
dude?
on. I just had someone, so we just bought a house on 54, and I thought I was gonna need to get it tested, and I literally just had someone send me, hold on, tell you what he said. He said, "Hey, it's late. This is Trey about the asbestos. It's $350 and then 15 per sample. I can get results back next day." So I'll give you this guy's information too.
Yeah.
But it depends on how many samples they have to take. So that, I talked to another company and he told me it could be as low as this and as high as this because then Trey and I started having a conversation. He was like, "Why are you wanting to get this?" You know, and so excuse my ignorance about it, but if you're tearing it down, do you have to get it inspected for asbestos? Because
Is that the debris has to go to a specific type of landfill.
oh, okay,
Yes.
okay,
Yep.
And
okay,
if it's lead paint, it has
Okay.
to go to a second type of landfill.
okay,
And if it doesn't, it goes to a property.
regular,
Yeah,
okay,
regular.
So they basically triage it.
okay.
Yeah, it's
Great.
all right, looking forward to the invite.
Great.
So you do it too?
The back parking lot fences, haven't gotten an update on those, still working through it. I was thinking that Clements was gonna come back and put the privacy fence around the pit, but they have not. So now I'm wondering if we need to, I'm gonna call them and make sure and see if it was included or if we need to add it. Because I would think that for consistency and visual, we'd want to put the privacy fence around the detention pond.
Yeah, I was surprised that it wasn't one on there. Do you think it might be part of the deal?
I thought it was, but if they hadn't put it up now, I may have been mistaken because it should have, I would have thought it would have gone up at the same time that other one did. But that's been a couple of weeks now. So I'm gonna call it just to make sure. Do you have any updates on the Leland cypresses or the evergreens?
Well, I've got just the one quote.
Okay. Do you think we should just bring it back up to council and just vote, go for the one vote, so if we get it approved?
These guys, would you ask them if they could do it?
I think that we still have to have that conversation with Arbor, I haven't
Okay.
heard anything back, so
Okay.
I think there's just gotta get some information from them.
Okay, alright, so we're still following up on all of that. Okay. So for the street striping, so I was able to talk to the gentleman with mid-state striping, and the quoted price was his total. So there wouldn't be anything extra for mobilization. He said it would be just the per footage price, and he even said there wouldn't be a difference between the yellow and the white, because he's already given us the one quote.
You said it would or would not?
There would not be, there usually is, but he'll just include it for that. So
Okay.
I'm gonna look back through my email, confirm all that, and then we'll probably bring that back to council for vote, next month.
We talked about the shoulders,
Mm-hmm.
and I got to thinking about it after I left here. Paint doesn't go on the shoulder, it goes inside about 6 inches.
Mm-hmm.
So you might be good to go. I mean, you really might.
Yeah,
except for
no,
the
yeah.
extreme place.
Yeah, I would like to go ahead, and that's another one of the things on the public works list is getting the county to help us start doing a diagnostics on the road to see and start grading them, or grading them for performance and see how long before they need to be replaced, repaired, and rebuilding the shoulders up in places where we need to help with the runoff, to keep it, to basically try to extend the life of the roads. So that, it'll be good to uncover them for several reasons, not just the striping. But yeah, I think in most places, it should be okay, but we still have debris everywhere, and I think it just looked nice to get it,
Well, yeah, sure.
all that stuff knocked off.
It's a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you go out and do it in front of your house, you don't have to worry about this, but like that big strip in front of Elizabeth's, the committee sends me out there about once every 3 months. It's an all-day deal.
Yeah, oh, I'm sure, oh, yeah. So, and I've honestly thought about just doing that, just getting Jim and his guys to go edge the road. One day after work, y'all two go that way, a couple days later, y'all two go that way.
It's This guy over here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, so Floyd, when we're talking to them about the, evergreens over there,
Mhm.
ask them as well about edging the shoulders,
All right,
cleaning off the debris.
all right.
And then that will give us, a new, fresh look on the street stripes. And then that'll help. Special event, we have had another filming request come in.
That's right.
And in looking at the special permit, special event permit, which is currently how we do filming, there's some ways that I think the staff is gonna come back and wanna clean up the
Well,
process.
For one, your fee for a special event permit is $50. So, do you wanna raise it up? That's just gonna be something to think about too. We haven't yet received the permit, we received an interest request for it. So we haven't received any details necessarily, other than very preliminary discussion is potentially shutting down Main Street in Tarrentine for a while for the filming to take place. It's really all we have at this point in time, but it's coming.
I've got a friend who's a producer.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give him a call and see what they pay.
Okay. That'll work.
The film permit, right?
Yes, yeah. And right now, we have it set up to where we just have one special event and we're lumping the films up underneath that. It wouldn't hurt for us to go ahead and get a filming permit that has all that stuff that they're used to dealing with, rather than.
Right. No, there's more to it. Things to
Mhm.
consider are, what kind of film? Is it going to have shooting? Is it gonna have zombies walking through? You don't want there to be some filming and somebody gets calls that there's somebody getting shot in Sharpsburg and Captain Sheriff shows up. You don't want that.
The first time you showed up.
Or something.
You know what I'm saying? So you don't want that.
Not to mention what kind of movie.
Right, yeah, what kind of movie do you want is actually a question that will be needing to be addressed, right? The other questions will be, what about impact on the school? You have your school buses that are driving through, they need to be rerouted so they don't have impact on schools. What about if there's public emergency? What about residents up and down Tarrentine and Maine who need to come to their homes? A lot of
So-
factors come into play.
And this is just, I know this is Sonoya, and this is definitely not Sonoya, but do y'all have any friends in there that you can ask? Cause you know, we have a friend that lived right near The Walking Dead, and they paid the residents. They not only paid the city, they also paid the residents, and they were paying, our friends, I can text now, it was making their house payment. It was like $1,600 a month.
Well,
They were
right,
paying
so
them,
there's-
just them.
Well, there's a question, because I also have some experience in governments working with
Mhm.
filming as well. And so I think with, you have Walking Dead, which is a series, went through
Right.
multiple years.
Right,
You're impacting people for years,
Right.
as opposed to possibly one day shooting.
right.
So I think that there's, you know,
And
there was those considerations too.
this request is just for a couple of days. I think it's just 2 or 3
Okay.
days of filming
Right,
sometime,
Right.
midsummer.
no, but if they're wanting to come in and
Yeah,
do a season, hey, we welcome it. There's
Yes.
other things too, though, to consider. When they do filming, they're going to come in and likely do their own upgrades.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe worthy of saying to keep it at a $50 fee, but come in here and edge our roads.
Right.
Or,
Yeah,
you know, there's other benefits that come to this, so.
yeah, cause they will
There
be
are
doing
thoughts
some
to it.
set dressing, and that presents some opportunities for a refresh, you
Yeah.
know, so.
Or paint the building and make it look good, you know? There's always another play you can play.
Okay. Tom, do you have anything else?
I've always got a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what I've got, I'm gonna talk about not just one aspect of that library. You know, we talked about trying to put together, a series of events. And, under the name of the library, just to get people knowing that it was there, just kind of build up a flow through here. I was approached by a nephew who puts on chess tournaments over in the schools in Fayette County.
Oh.
And he said they make, after they rent everything out, and get all the equipment rented and sent back, he said they made about $700 last weekend. So, I think we ought to look at doing that.
Mhm.
It may not cost us anything up front, but once you get a couple of tournaments under your belt,
Mm-hmm.
you can make some purchases and some clocks. And, you know, chessboards. But I don't think going, you know, up front it would cost anything, 'cause he'll bring the stuff over,
Mm-hmm.
he said.
Let's do
I
this.
thought like we could do that.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah, it does. I don't necessarily mean form a club, or
Right.
have a tournament, and then have those people on the list and just, you know, invite them back in if you want.
Sharpsburg chess champion,
Yeah.
Why
you
not?
know?
Why not?
You know who,
That's-
all ages?
Oh, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, they said there was a guy 68 playing a kid 5, and, you know, in their match, and I'm sure that was just a.
Oh, that's hilarious.
My father taught me to play when I was 4, and when my niece was born, I was 8, my little brother was 6, and we were sitting, back then the kids couldn't go up there to the maternity wards, so my brother and I were sitting in the lobby of the Piedmont Hospital playing chess. And we weren't playing chess like checkers and going against the wall, we were playing chess, we were knocking it out. And my father said he came down and there were interns and nurses and people standing around, like 5 people thick around. And he thought, oh my God, somebody has killed one of the boys has killed the other. It's over there, we're just playing chess, these guys couldn't believe it. You know, people didn't play chess back in those days.
Oh,
Not here in
that's
this one.
hilarious. That's-
But anyway, I'll follow up on
sounds
that.
interesting, let's do that.
I don't know a
Let's
thing
look into
about how we would advertise it or how we get the word out.
Facebook?
Yeah.
Yeah.
1654 Loop. I'm telling you, we got like 1,000 people on there or something like that. I mean, it's people are trying to add themselves to the page and they don't even live in this area, and I have to, because we ask them, where do you live?
Mhm.
But it's got a good little, we got a,
Huh, okay.
Facebook is a way, another
Yeah.
could be,
Yeah.
maybe there's a community page on the, Midland Times Herald, say, look what's happening over
Maybe
here.
a chess club.
Looking for press.
House would
Mhm.
access.
So actually, I think there is, because a friend of mine's son had a chess team tryout, and I wanna say he's an 8th grader in Willis, and it was at the high school, so I think they do.
A tryout.
Mm-hmm. I think, yeah.
Well, you would know, does East Coweta have a chess club?
That's what I was just saying, is I think it was for East Coweta.
Okay.
But yeah, let's do it.
That's another way to do it. Yeah, we can fill this place up. What they do is they charge, I think he charges either $20 or $25 to come do it.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
So that's what it makes money.
yeah.
well, is it and I think that you put some of the money towards the grand prize winner probably.
Mm-hmm.
The winner doesn't get anything?
If you play, they don't, if you play chess and you win, you got it.
You just won.
Okay, you got it. The rest of them can just go cry to mama.
Oh, goodness.
Oh,
Man.
funny.
No, it's a different world.
Yeah.
You know, you've never heard of a croquet trophy either, have you?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
Same kind of thing,
Yeah.
except you get whacked with a mallet.
So you're gonna look into getting the chess club this time?
Pardon me?
You're gonna look into that then?
Well, I'm gonna look into what I gotta do to form it,
Mm-hmm.
and then we gotta advertise it, and then we gotta do it.
Can advertise at the pizza place?
Mm-hmm. Put the pizza place up there. Do a little table tents at the pizza place.
Sharpsburg Pizza. Would be cool.
What if this
Well,
is kind of-
not to mention we're delivering now, so we could put something with the deliveries that we're going at. You know, like if you brought us some flyers, we already take a menu to every house we deliver to, we could put something in there about it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I've got
See, I
a
like
question.
that, I don't like technology, that to me is.
Give me that piece of paper all day long. You gotta have a good mix though.
So April and I ran into each other over the weekend and got to talking and catching her up on some of the things we've been doing here in town. And April goes, well, you know what? Well, I thought about doing this. And then she goes, well, I thought about doing that. And by the end of the evening, I said, why don't you just come to the work session that we're having on Monday night and talk about some of the business stuff that you want to do. Being a business owner in Sharpsburg, she kind of has a pulse. She kind of sees the things that businesses need, and the way I look at it, that is our job. Our job is to set the table for them to be successful.
Mhm.
So, April, if you've got some ideas on integrating the business community or getting engaged with business owners, lay it on us.
First and foremost, I did find out about the commercial, the building that just got sold
Mhm.
on 54.
Mhm.
It sold to a gentleman named Rafiq his brother, I think, owns the BP.
Mhm.
And I looked up on the tax assessor's website. He also owns the house that's directly behind the BP.
Okay, yep.
He goes by Ralph,
Mhm.
but real name's Rafiq. But apparently the Toasty Toad is staying. They've renegotiated their terms. He did put some weight on the fact that Sherry's dad takes care of the lawn and stuff out there.
Mhm.
Is that camera pointed at me? Okay, sorry, I just saw it and realized it was pointed right at me. Then the other 3 tenants, from my understanding, are. I mean, is this going on the website, or is this just for Polly? I don't know how much information I need to
playtime
say.
for me.
Okay. I just didn't know how much information I needed to put out there. The other 3 tenants in the concrete building, I know that Tony is not staying. I spoke to him. From my understanding, he is moving to 2 of the buildings that Joe owns right here in downtown Sharpsburg. He's going to be in the barn, like, y'all know the one I'm talking about?
Mhm. The one
And-
on Stonewall?
No, right here on
One
Main Street.
Right here on Main Street.
One on Main Street, and then the first building on Main Street, the yellow green.
Knick-knack. Mhm.
Yes, the knickknack. So supposedly he's moving into the 2 of those. The ice machine is also
Mhm.
leaving from over there. I think the mechanic and the accountant are kind of up in the air. Have no idea. I'm gonna meet with him next week. Shep and I, my partner in the pizza place, toured over there when it first went up for sale and just kind of decided it was in a lot of disarray. There's no HVAC, you know, I mean, like, the ceiling was falling in. That's why I said don't put that, but you know, it was rough.
Need some
Okay,
upgrades.
I mean, no HVAC.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot. There is a restroom in each section, but we walked through and just said, for $600,000, this isn't something, you know, we could, but at the time he had just put it up for sale and said that he wasn't going to go any lower at the moment. I think, from what I understand, it sold for $5, but the new owner kind of came in and is renegotiating those. Like I said, Tony says he's leaving. The other 2 have yet to decide. I did reach out to the new owner and just said, hey, you know, I don't know what you're looking for. I don't know. I mean, they're obviously going to have to be brought up to code. My understanding was the fire marshal kind of came through there and said, no, you've got to do some things, as far as if a new tenant or whatnot. And of course, no one's going to move in for the amount of money that he's asking unless he does something. It's a lot.
Right.
But I reached out to him because I, off the top of my head, can think of 3 businesses that want to be in Sharpsburg and would be good for Sharpsburg, Kenya being one of them. Veronica, which is Shep's wife, she has been sitting on ready to do some type of kind of like Greenhouse Mercantile, basically some plants, some, you know, just an all-around store of like decor, kind of like a boutique. But obviously the building itself would need to be elevated for someone to want to move in there, because right now it just looks, you know, it looks like a mess. I had asked Blue, you know, I don't live within the city limits. I'm outside, but I just said I would like to be involved. I don't know how I could be involved. You know, tell me how I could be of service to Sharpsburg. And so I just said, how about I make contact with the businesses and kind of keep some organization to the businesses, whether it be, you know, because we all talk on a regular basis, you know, how's it going? We kind of keep up with one another. And I don't know if that's something that the town, you know, the council would be interested in me kind of coming and giving y'all a, you know, this is where we're all at. So-and-so needs this, you know, so-and-so would like this, or hey, everybody's good, you know, from that kind of standpoint. I know for the most part, all the facility, you know, everybody that's in the shoemakes buildings are, you know, there's nothing there that most of the time anybody needs because everything falls under our, lease. You know, he's been there for forever, so he's got it down pat. There's no new signs, there's, you know, it's all there. But sometimes it is helpful for a new business, and I think that's what Sharpsburg wanting is new business. Sometimes it helps for them to have a friend that goes, this is what you need to do, this is who you should see, you know, what are you looking for? Sometimes they might feel a little bit more comfortable to disclose something, you know, information to me than they would to Tom or Blue. Yeah, you know, and so it's so I kind of offered that service. You know, I told Blue that I would be happy to do that, and so that way I would just start coming to the meetings on a regular basis and giving y'all updates of what's going out on the streets. But
and two, that anything that can help us outreach to our people,
Right.
businesses or families, I'm all for it. You're already there. The work that you've done with the pub has just been wonderful, and
thank you.
anything that you can do and are willing to do and works with council, let's do it.
Okay.
Because I think that we've got a new tenant downtown in addition to Tony moving in, but I haven't heard anything about a business license or anything like that, so, you know, let them get settled in and hopefully they'll wander down.
Where's this?
On the other side of the post office. The post office is, the old brick post office is subdivided, and so I think someone is moving into the business over here, one side of it.
Oh, okay.
We've received no request from.
You hadn't? Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I saw how the saw and trim.
Well, it'll be curious too because, you know, the other two buildings that were the antique store as well as the monument place all of that is up for rent as well. I called, just out of curiosity, and was asking questions. And she kind of gave me, okay, well, this is all that we have for rent. And she went through everything. And that was one of the ones that was listed, was the backside of the post office. So I'm glad to hear that somebody moved in.
Good, yeah.
So,
We did have a request for a permit today. I wanna say it's for HVAC over at the monument place too.
okay.
So
Woohoo.
that did happen today.
Okay.
Cool.
So something, I haven't, as far as business licenses, not much yet, but.
Well, it's good to see movement, you know, it's one of those things to where you always wanna be moving forward and just having constant improvement, because the minute we start standing still, everybody's gonna start passing us, and we're already far enough, not down the list or down in the hole, but we have some room to make up, and this is how it starts, I think.
Okay. We're making good progress on that.
Yep. So April, it sounds wonderful to me. I'd like to invite you to come back to the council meeting and talk to everybody and get everybody's input.
Okay.
You know, it can end up being a two-way street too. You know, maybe some things we can get out to people that is best done on a one-by-one. Not that we have anything hideous coming down the pipe, but it'd be nice to be able to.
I got the gift of gab, Tom, you know. I got it.
I was an industrial salesman for 30 years. I spotted it.
Ms. Polly, you got any questions or anything?
No, I think she's just what everybody's been looking for.
Yep, I think so. Tom, any other questions or thoughts or floats or anything like that?
Nope.
We're still getting Dina in and settled. We haven't really turned her loose on anything because she's still getting her feet up underneath her and scheduling some time with B&G and shadowing her for at least the next 2 weeks, I think.
That's sort of the idea. We're a little bit playing it by ear, but yeah, wanna make sure she's aware of her role first.
And then two, just getting all the pieces in place over here in town hall, because adding an additional body, both on the community center side and then with Dina shadowing, a lot of moving pieces in here, and I'll continue to say that it's getting tight quarters over there, and it's really nice to have more room. So, and that's just all that I'll say.
That's how you meant to that.
So we have a new community, there's a new community person.
So
So not a new person. Angie is coming into the community center role full-time.
Okay,
Last year, she was doing both.
She does the videos on Facebook?
Yes, she's
Okay,
one that does
okay.
videos on Facebook, yes. And she has grown the community center so well, she wants to focus on it. Which
Okay,
means we have hired a new librarian, but not the permanent librarian, because this lady has a lot of additional skills that we need.
okay.
So we're bringing on new staff.
So we're looking for a librarian?
Not right now.
Not right now.
Not right now. Not right now.
Why?
You
Good
know,
question.
Just tell me when. I'm just
Okay.
kidding. Well, I mean,
and I will say that I
library-
think we're always looking for folks that would be interested in doing stuff at the library.
right.
Right,
Well,
right,
I
but
was
as far as
curious.
but as far as an approved budget, we're there yet, not yet. But we're
Have-
always looking how we can grow it better.
Has there ever been like a volunteer basis at the library? Or
Mhm.
like, and how did that go? And was it just,
So previously, we have had volunteers up until 2018. It was a completely volunteer
Mm-hmm. Okay.
position. COVID knocked out a lot of the volunteers that we had, but we're open to restarting the volunteer roles and other things that are being held there.
Volunteers went in and fixed it up, cleaned it up. It was in horrible shape. And we went in and took care of that.
Yep.
And a lot of work, a lot of effort to get it back as a library.
I also wonder, because of that, what are the hours again? 11 to? or-
Tuesday and Thursday, 2 to 6, and then
Okay.
one Saturday a month.
So, and this is just a thought, you know, there are a lot of clubs at East Coweta High School, Beta Club, there's kids out there hungry for volunteer stuff. Maybe instead of relying on the, you know, adults, not that they, you know, maybe have a mixture, you know, cause I can think of, and there's also kids that are the work-based learning. They have to do a certain amount of hours each week, and you can pay them minimum wage. I don't mean that ugly, but there are a few, we've had some good ones come through, and most of the time they get out of school as early as 12 o'clock when they're work-based learning. And they come to work because you signed a little form saying that they came to work, and that's part of their school, that's part of their class, you know, that they have to have it, or else they don't get their grade for work-based learning.
Yeah, cause my kid did that
Yeah.
for last year.
So that's an
Beta
option
Club
too.
specifically, that's a requirement to be in the Beta Club, is you have to have some service hours.
Mhm.
The biggest thing about service hours, and we have had some kids do that,
Mhm.
is you gotta have them in a pair, because you don't wanna have one kid solo up there.
Right, okay,
By himself or herself.
right.
Good thing about it is there are no moving parts.
Right.
You're not asking them to come work in the shops.
No.
Right.
I mean, I don't even think we have a staple.
I mean, I've been pretty impressed with the kids that we've gotten from the work-based learning. We've had probably 6. 2 of them went to other positions, and then I think we still have 4. And the nice thing is that they come in earlier and they work because, again, this is part of their school. So they're
So
there.
you become the Partners Pizza of Sharpsburg.
Oh, is that what they do too?
Yes.
There's not a person I know that lives in Peachtree City,
Uh-huh.
that lived there over, like, back 30 years ago,
Uh-huh.
whose first job went to Partners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, for the longest time, other than the Franklin Fries, that was the only restaurant
Right.
in Peachtree City, wasn't it? Okay.
Well, I think
There were a lot of little weird things, but yeah.
the
that's most
proximity, our proximity to the school is just so close that it's just so easy. You know, poor Sherry Toasty